Hello and welcome to Coffee Conversations from Roofers Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth and we are live at Western Roofing Expo and we are on the sound stage sponsored by General Coatings and Everroof. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Always great to be here. What a fabulous show. Everybody's out.
It is awesome. It is so packed and it's really kind of loud. So if I sound like I am yelling, I might be. But we're going to have a conversation here today that is spectacular. We have the most amazing panel of folks here today. So we're going to start with some introductions. We're going to start right over here with Josh. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
Yes, of course. My name is Josh Adams, coming live with Roofers Coffee Shop from beautiful Paris Hotel. I'm Josh, and my company is Roof Scout, and we are a digital salesman company, and we are bringing 3D animation and the next wave of AI salesmanship to the marketplace. We're launching our product this coming spring, so it's going to be really exciting. And yeah, happy to talk and share about it. Heidi, I've talked a lot about it with, and she's been great. So
a little shameless plug here, but you're going to see this technology on Roofers Coffee Shop and Ask a Roofer, so just saying, it's coming your way. It's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
So, Josh, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. Appreciate it.
And I have to say, Josh is also from kind of my hometown, Central Oregon.
Yeah, we're Central Oregon buddies, because I grew up in Bend and Heidi grew up in Sisters.
And Sisters, there you go.
So they call it the CO. It's the Central Oregon, but if you're local, it's the CO.
The CO.
Absolutely.
And you're in Idaho now.
Yep, Boise. Yep, absolutely.
So, very good. And then Chris, I'm so excited to have you. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris Heitzman from Capital Roofing in Sandy, Utah. And I'm also the incoming president for Western States Roofing Contractors Association, and I am so excited about this next year.
Yes,
that is great.
So we're on the board together. I'm on advisory, and you're going to be chair. And I am so excited for you.
I am so excited to work with you and to help get your ideas in place. I am just
Heidi has ideas for everything,
No,
and they're always like truly good. Yeah.
I am one that doesn't think that we need to just keep staying the same. We need to mix things up a little bit to kind of change things up to get to
keep people interested.
To have forward momentum even.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you don't have forward momentum, where are you?
Where are we?
Agreed.
And as an industry, we've got to keep leading. And we're going to talk about that because there's a lot going on with a lot of thought leaders who are making changes, which is exciting. Speaking of a thought leader, and Stephanie, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Stephanie Baird with Bliss Roofing, also out of Oregon.
Yeah.
We've got some Oregonians here.
Yeah.
I'm the general manager. We are a pitched residential company. I am also on the board of Western States, chairing the membership committee this coming year.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Excited
Yeah.
for you.
Oh boy.
I'm excited to have you do that.
It's always an honor to be on this panel. This is where the roofing industry meets, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. So excited. We also do a lot together at National Women in Roofing, Oregon.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we are an
Stephanie
aggressive
does it.
movement.
Yes, we are an aggressive movement.
Yes.
And proud of that.
And very proud. Very proud.
Very proud.
Isn't the NWIR like one of the fastest growing organizations in the country? That's fantastic.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And
especially in the roofing world, that's big. Changes are coming.
It's really big. And
that's
next
fantastic.
year with these two ladies, it's going to be right there with Western States and the growth we're going to see
Love
there.
that.
So, Will, thank you first of all for sponsoring the sound stage that we have here. Can you introduce yourself and tell us about your companies?
Sure. Well, Heidi, thank you. It was great to be at the auction last night.
Oh, yeah.
I helped contribute to fund.
We bought your package.
Yeah, and we helped also contribute to fund one of the student things. So that was great too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Such a great cause. Just glad to be a part of it. My name is Will Lorenz. I'm with General Coatings. I'm president of it. We manufacture spray foam and roof coatings. We did this recently, this domed thing, and put spray foam and roof coatings on it here in Las Vegas. So pretty excited about that, and just glad to be here.
It's so fun. I just got to say, we talk to, people outside of roofing who kind of wonder what we do in our lives. But when we talk to them, they're like, do you see that dome in Las Vegas? We know how it was roofed. We know the spray foam on there. So it's always kind of fun to be able to talk about that.
It's great when, the roofing industry does things that are memorable, iconic, things that we could all be proud of. There are homes and schools. We're glad to do those things. but do things that people kind of see. If like you did the roof here at the Paris, that would be pretty iconic too. Everybody knows it from afar. So
And everything needs a roof.
Everything needs a roof.
Yeah,
That
everything
sounds like a
needs a roof.
Charles Antis kind of line, doesn't it?
Everything needs a roof.
Absolutely. Keeping families safe and dry. Yeah, that's Charles's line. Yeah.
There you go, Charles.
There you
A
go,
plug
Charles,
for you.
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Will, how is the show going so far? I mean, I can't believe. So we are kind of in the back corner of the show, which I always think, well, it's going to take a while to get people there. It has been packed. How's it at your booth, and what are you seeing?
Oh, we're seeing lots of people. We've got people from Texas. We've got people from Hawaii. We've got people from all over California and Las Vegas. So a lot of people have made it here. The conversations are good. They're interested in new things. They're interested in innovation. They want to find better solutions for their customers. So it's been really good conversations and a lot of scans. So we're real happy.
I heard that same thing. A lot of scans. I was talking to some folks out there. I have to tell you, I think what has already happened this show, I mean, even before the show floor opened, has been spectacular. I think Western States, the board, the staff have just done a spectacular job. What do you think? I mean, starting Saturday night and with everything.
I thought it was amazing. It was so cool to see the past presidents all in a room together, especially number 1 and number 2. I mean, I was in awe of them. I was in awe seeing them at the legislative lunch today. So I think it's been fantastic. I think all bells were out in celebration of the 50th year. I think it's been amazing.
It is really. When I think about the events and then the auction last night, it was so good. So Chris, this has to be such a busy time for you as you are going to be chair of Western, or president next year. How's it been for you so far?
It's been a little bit nerve-wracking, but having the dinner that we had on Saturday night to honor all the past presidents made me really feel like I'm not alone. That my insecurities and everything else has been felt by all the past presidents. And so it's kind of helped calm my nerves, and I am so excited for what's coming up.
And you're part of a legacy. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I'll be the 5th, I'll be number 5 woman.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. That is a huge deal.
That I am so honored.
Yeah.
And we're on track for a record year for attendance.
That's what I've heard.
We hit over 4,000 already.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
So we're on track.
This show
You can
is so
tell.
popular.
Yes.
Look how busy it
so
is.
I know.
Yeah,
I
so
know.
busy.
It's great, but it's needed. This time of year, I think, is the perfect time. And I know Western States has been kind of a challenge since COVID to get the right hotels and get past everything that was going on and stuff. And when they moved it, when the board moved it to October, I just think, or September, I should say September, October, I think what a great move, because everybody's working on getting ready for next year, and now they get to come to this trade show and see all this new technology.
And the kids go back to school during this time. It just is a much different thing versus like the original one I went to, it was at the old date. And this was my first ever trade show as a contractor. So yeah, and I loved it. It's kind of what introduced me to the whole world, and I met friends that I still talk to 10 years later, which is pretty cool, and everybody always has like a good vibe. Everyone's excited, happy. It's cool.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow you're going to be speaking on a panel for Roofing Technology Think Tank.
Yes, with RT3, yes, absolutely.
And what do you see happening at the show and just everywhere around technology? And I mean, it's just exploding with the need from contractors.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I think it's been a slow graph that is now starting to hit kind of an exponential growth curve, because with anything that's newly adapted, whether it's in roofing or any industry, you'll have the kind of first entrance people that lay the groundwork to get guys comfortable, right? To me, that would be Eagleview, right? They're coming in and saying, hey, let's do this new. Back in 2013, it was very revolutionary. So then you're getting comfortable and you're getting less of the opposition to that. And I think that was what kind of started the trend into. And then as you have more companies kind of fill out the space and you have proposal softwares and CRMs, I mean, 5 years ago, if you would have talked to I bet you maybe 1 out of 10 contractors, maybe 1 out of 5 had a CRM. I don't know what you guys think, but most people that wasn't a everyday thing, and now that's pretty common. So that's going to be able to feed data in order to make other programs that build off CRMs, you know? So it's like, but you know,
We actually don't use a CRM, but it's something that I'm looking into.
What is your need for it? I mean, is it something that you find?
Basically do new commercial roofing.
That's a lot different.
So we are in a different area, but as I'm looking to expand our business, I realize that there's a need for it. And so that's something I need to look into.
I think it's good for operations, but it's good just for your own data insights. I feel like that's kind of what really made me take it seriously, is saying, okay, we can actually take our CRM data and then make models to predict better sales outcomes all around, let alone how to better serve the customer, what went wrong, anywhere from manufacturing to salesmanship. I think there's a lot of really good stuff to pull, but you just have to, it's kind of like finding your way through the hype of some things, because it's like, you have people that are doing it that hype it at 100, and then you're finding value somewhere in the mid 80s. That's still great. It doesn't need to be revolutionary, but if it helps you save some time where you can spend a little more time at home versus at work, that's kind of nice. You know?
And you know,
take care of your customers better, I think.
That's the main thing. It's like, how can you make the customer feel better about their huge project?
So one of the things that the board we've been talking about, and this actually came out of the last board meeting, was it's good to have the tried and true classes, right? But we need to do newer. We also need to kind of push it, and so that's why the RT3 meeting tomorrow came about, is because people are looking for CRMs. They're looking for on the roof. What are they going to do? Robotics and different things. So as you are looking around, I'm going to go Stephanie. As you're looking around the show floor and just kind of talking, what kind of technologies, what kind of things are you looking for here?
Well, the CRMs and the AI stuff right now, and to go back on the CRM conversation, I feel like it's super important, not just at the customer level and the employer level, but at the installer level. All of our installers have access to their CRM. They're designated to their own job. We have real-time photos, and so I can see problems and damages. If there's an issue, they can tell, oh, this wasn't the right color, my worksheet says this, but you delivered this, and they can see it. So I think it's beneficial.
And those are tried and true problems for every contractor in every market in the whole country. Like, I talk to guys everywhere, and it's like, what happens? Wrong color, the PO doesn't match what's delivered, like all of those general housekeeping things. But it's like what we kind of did with my CRM data from my contracting company is we use that as the foundation to build what we're doing with Roof Scout. So we said, hey, these are all the ways that our customers, 400 intakes over 7 years did, and then let's read that data, build profiles for customers, right? So like what we did is basically said, hey, you're 4 types of customers and every one of you buys in a similar way. Let's try to match our content to that buying style to make that customization happen. And then people will feel much more inclined to use technology if it's the way they want to buy, which I think that was the real flip switch that even I was talking to Heidi as far as development and going, hey, I really want to take and push this customization level. We cannot just be a digital salesman, but like, how do we actually improve the customer's experience and make it easier and save money to the contractor too? So it's like, I think that's just one of many things you can do with your own data. Like, people can take control of their own data and do their own things with it. You don't have to pay someone else to do that, but I think it's interesting the power that it can have.
Well, I think that's really smart, because we actually have 2 CRMs right now, because for 2 different departments at our company, and what works well for one doesn't work well for the other department.
True.
And so we are right now building a special one to service all of our departments. But we have 2 right now, and it's a royal pain in the rear. I mean, it really is. So.
Well, and that's when people get bummed out and then don't do it, because it's like you try it and it screws more things up than, if Post-it notes it's duct tape on the wheels and you're getting there, but at least you know it and it's comfortable, right? So that's the big leap, like with people looking for new technologies, they just want to be able to trust it. And I feel like if you do new technology and then it fails, you're kind of hooked and then you want to continue. And I think a lot of people here kind of look into that to say, okay, we've done these things, we're not scared of it anymore, this is what we got out of it, this is what we're looking for now. So I think as like thought leaders, we just need to make sure we're catching where the overlaps are to try to better serve everybody as best we can. No one's going to be a fit all for everything, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
that's
we
what
know-
you're saying. That's a big deal. Like
Yeah.
I'm using 2 or 3 different things to try to patch together our
Sure.
workflow.
And
yeah.
for those different departments, both work well for those departments, and we know what we don't like. So that's
Yeah.
a great thing
That's
too.
cool. That's a good
is-
point.
Yeah, we know what we don't like about it. So when we go for this special one that's being built for us, it's going to be perfect.
Perfect,
But
yeah.
the AI is where it's at.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
next step.
Even for us old girls that
Yeah.
don't want to admit it, it's where it's at.
It's
Yeah,
where it's coming.
100%.
It's got to
So-
get a little smarter too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a little bit off.
Yeah,
I
yes.
wouldn't bet the farm on it yet.
Yeah. Yes.
It's going to take some time to,
Yeah.
to defeat it. It just needs to
Yep.
be fed. So, okay, I want to kind of switch gears here for a minute and talk a little bit about the economy. Just because we just had conversations at the luncheon, but will you not only are you the Western states and you're very with California, but obviously nationally you're selling. What are you seeing, and what are some of the things you see coming with the economy, or
Well-
things that contractors should be thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, we're inside 30 days coming up on the election, and so people are sort of paying attention to that. I think we had a distraction that kind of happened in the summer where a lot of people got kind of focused on all of the the back and forth of a lot of things, and they weren't focused on their business because it seemed like there was a bit of a lull for a period, and now there's picked up as people have looked at, they need to get jobs finished, they need to take care of their customers, they need to get roofs done, and so, we've seen sort of a pickup in things in the second half of the year where, somewhere in the late second quarter, there was a bit of a malaise because everything was, about what politics wanted to distract you to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of distraction going on. But what are you seeing in Oregon? Because there was a while, to Will's point, at the beginning of the year or mid-year, there was Pacific Northwest was kind of slow. Are you still seeing that, or what's happening?
It's been a different type of year. It
Yeah.
has. And fortunately, we've been super busy, and which is great. But we don't have the backlog that we have had in years prior. Just like what was mentioned at the legislative lunch.
Yeah.
Normally, we are at least a month out this time of the year, and we're just a couple weeks, and that's industry wide. It's just not our company. So. Yeah, but there's a lot going on with the politics. People are scared on what to do. Interest rates are still high. There's lots of factoring things.
Do you think with the interest rate that just went down, and once, because I have to tell you, sorry if I get myself in trouble on this, but I hate election years. And
Me too.
They are the worst.
Me too.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
Everybody gets distracted, and,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to talk about all the bad things about everybody else, and I'm like, just let's do some business.
Let's focus on business.
Let's focus on
Yes.
business. So do you think after we get through the elections and with the interest rates coming down, is there any talk through, we're looking great for next year, or is there still that hesitancy even going into next year?
I think there's still going to be a hesitancy going into next year. I think, however the election comes out, 50% of us are going to be mad.
Yeah.
And so,
Right, that's about split down the middle.
I mean,
yeah.
serious. Yeah, I think there's still going to be some hesitancy, but I am hopeful that come spring of 2025, everything is back on track by then, and we're prosperous
Ready to
for
go.
next year. We're going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You're ready now?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in Utah?
Utah is typically a little bit behind the rest of so we have, our backlog is just a little bit smaller than it normally is.
Yeah.
So that's been a good thing. We've been real busy. We've been able to keep a backlog, but I am a little worried about what's going to happen. I try not to think about it because it just gives me too much anxiety.
Yeah, just do business.
Are you guys seeing
Just do
financing?
business.
How has financing changed
We
at all?
actually, so for us, we do large commercial projects, and I've seen a couple of building owners that were going to build a building, and then they were pulling back a little bit, and then they were like, no, let's go ahead. So, we had a project that one contractor pulled out after 3 buildings, and now they wanted to do the other 2. Now they do want to do the other 2.
Good.
So I do see things kind of picking up there, which is a good thing.
It seems like there's still demand,
Yes,
especially
there is.
Utah has such huge growth, and we're still seeing a lot of cranes in all the cities. But yeah, it kind of it's like this right now.
It is.
It's a little wobbly. What are you seeing, Josh, as you're working with contractors?
I think it's definitely slowed down this year. I think people are pulling back after a really heavy spend through the pandemic. I mean, we've been on a wild 4-year ride, everybody in the industry. It's like you had everyone stuck at home, everyone's wanting to remodel. We had, everyone's buying up homes, lots of transactions, and I'm pretty, I guess, tuned in on the real estate side, so I hear little, fumblings here and there, and they were just running ragged nonstop. So I think now we're feeling it might not be as much of a lull as we're feeling, because it's been such a ramped up high. That's kind of what people are starting to adjust to. They're like, hey, it's lower, but also maybe we've just been on such a big bubble that coming back down a little bit feels low, but maybe it's not as bad as we think. So
maybe
I think
it's
people,
the new normal?
Yeah, I think people are settling into the fact that with like what you said, election year, people aren't running to do home improvements as much as they were 2 summers ago. But I think the economy is still strong in that way. People are just wanting to get those points down a little bit, and then they'll feel better about saying, hey, I can live with that rate. I know you're going to dial up my loan for 4 more years to get me monthly where I want to be, but people are trying to be consumers and educate themselves and not just sign up for a loan because they can get the monthly where they need, and then all of a sudden it's double the time, So I think a lot of creative financing, which is always kind of odd when things happen like that, where the general public needs to make sure they stay educated about financing ins and outs. I think that's important and a really good area for education, to be honest. Yeah.
That sounds like something for Ask a Roofer.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I think there's 2 points there. One, I think there's been a lot of federal money that's been put in the system, and so kind of what's going to happen next year is whether or not there's going to continue, because a lot of projects got funded under various programs over the last 4 or even 8 years, and whether they continue, that can have an effect on the economy. But I think businesses as a whole are trying to rapidly move forward, but they're looking at things and trying to determine, well, what can I predict out of my customer? Will this, and there's a level of that, as you said, Chris, so a little bit of uncertainty all the way up and down, whether or not everybody's going to build the next building, but they all seem to want to. It's just a little bit of hesitation.
Yes. Yeah. No, we do a lot of work for one certain convenience store, and they haven't slowed down in building new stores or remodeling.
Really?
So that's really hopeful.
Yeah. Well, and you're kind of making me think, because one of the things we talk about when we are going into possibly a little softening in the economy is the importance of diversifying your business, right? So if you are, which is what you were kind of talking about, Chris, so maybe we start there, is like knowing that not being in different segments, one where maybe multifamily is going faster and new construction is going slower, or remodeling and stuff like that. What are you finding on that?
It's in Utah. Generally, it's people kind of stick to one market. I am deciding that I want to try and venture out into some try residential, and do some different things. Because I am concerned about what's going to happen, and you do see there are changes, and changes are happening, and I don't think I'm not afraid to look into doing something different.
Right.
And
it's kind of like diversifying your portfolio on the stock market, right? You got it, or
absolutely.
however they do that is kind of the same way in your business. What are you seeing, and as in new trends? You stay up on that so much. I mean, there's stuff going on out there with solar. There's I want to talk about spray foam, different things that are going. What are some of the things that you're seeing coming along that are going to help your business?
The solar is where it's at. I mean, even in Oregon with all of our rain, I mean, people are talking about solar. And 5 years ago, I would have said solar, they ruined my roof. But now, no. I mean, no, seriously.
You're accurate.
Yeah, technology has changed. There's different products out there. I think that's great. Solar is where it's at. I think multifamily in my region is where it's at too. On the new construction side and on the re-roof side, there's so much of multifamily being built or being redone, trying to have affordable housing in the Portland area. So I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, and that's part of I keep seeing is that we don't have enough housing. So one way or the other, that is going to be forced at some point to have to happen. And we all need roofs.
Yep, everybody needs a roof at some time.
Yeah, at some time.
Well, I think it's interesting to overlay everything economical, the pandemic, and then you also have to think we had such distribution of populations to different areas that's a huge interesting thing, because that just rearranged everybody. You're like, holy cow, which is kind of interesting, but it's also like, hold on to your hats, because where are you going to live? I mean, you just in Boise alone, I mean, rents and property values, I mean, we doubled since 2020, like for an average rent. But what are you guys', do you do, what's your repair and maintenance like? Because as a contractor with me, I mean, I would say some years that was 20% of our, I mean, we had a big maintenance, repair, business out of just coming out. Nobody would want to go out and do anything. Chimneys, I mean, in Oregon, it's like we have ice dams, all of those things. I don't know about the southern states, but we would do a lot of repair business in Idaho, big time. Yeah.
We do a lot of repair work up in Idaho as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot more up there.
It's wild.
It is absolutely crazy. And some of those building owners aren't willing to spend money on redoing their roofs either, which is very interesting. They just want to keep maintaining, and we're like, this roof is shot.
We worked with the Boise Code Department actually, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. It was not a requirement to have vertical waterproofing, like from the actual building code. And so based on a bunch of builders that came in, and you have chimneys that have no vertical waterproofing, so it's like that's only been in the last 5 years, which is pretty wild. But yeah, a lot of repair, a lot of siding, interaction, flashing repairs, and that's big money and big business if you're diversified.
Because, to that point, on Coatings Coffee Shop, we are having so many webinars and on roof restoration, on service and maintenance, and I have to tell you, every time it's huge numbers of people coming in, and I'll be 100% honest, I'm kind of like, there's no way anybody wants to hear about roof restoration one more time. Nothing personal, Will, but you know what? They do. Everybody does. It is like so popular right now. What are you seeing to that point with service and maintenance and roof restorations?
Well, I think we brought about the big picture, which is the cost of capital is high, and the building codes have gone up quite a bit in the last 5 years, and so when you're going to re-roof or do something, you're asked to spend a lot more than what you had expected to spend 5 years ago. So that causes some people to consider, what can I do to keep myself waterproof, and what can be done to repair these other areas, because they want to spend money maybe inside their facility, not necessarily on the top of their plant. They're trying to spend money on their CRM system. They're trying to spend money on other things to keep their core business going.
Building custom CRM systems.
So, roof coatings we've seen, grow quite a bit, and it's a really good alternative. A lot of membranes, are getting to the end of service lives. If they've got R20 and they got to come back and put R30 or R38, they're going to look at tearing it off and starting over completely, and that's just a bigger lift for everybody. And people are saying, well, not yet. There'll be a point in time, and spray foam and roof coatings are great alternatives for that, where you can overlay or you can recover a system, restore a system, and keep it going. So it's on the low slope side, there's good alternatives there.
Talk a little bit about California. California and the energy requirements, the building codes. I mean, talk about their spray foam and just what is happening there. We had such an interesting panel at the Spray Foam Show this last year talking about those changes.
So, what I would say is, in general, California tries to lead the way with energy efficiency, so the building codes keep going up, and that helps. I think starting in 25, a recover system has to be a minimum continuous insulation of R14 on the outside. And
What's
so
that now?
It's at R10, and 2 years ago it wasn't anything. So So it's jumping up. And so that means people are going to have to invest more in their facilities. And then obviously, like you go to Boston area, now I think it's R60 is some of the stuff is a requirement of insulation up there. And so that becomes quite a thick roof that you're having to put on regardless.
Is that to combat ice damming, basically, not to have the heat transfer?
No, that's energy efficiency. They want to reduce climate change goals. They want to, improve the ability to have fossil fuels be reduced in some of those areas. In California, spray foam is a great alternative. There's a lot of big buildings that we're doing with roofs that have an existing roof on it, and then you can put a roof system on top of it with spray foam, watertight it, add additional insulation so you can meet all those requirements on the outside. So it's positive, but I'll just tell you, I think people are, new construction has had the fortune of a lot of what I call federal money, and if that continues, we're going to see a lot of investment and growth. But if it doesn't, people are going to look at how to act conservatively in their businesses, and they'll look at what alternatives you folks can provide them that makes sense cost effective.
Yeah, and it's changing, because when we were talking about technology, we were talking about software, but really what we're starting to see is even new technologies on the roofing systems, on how to install those roofing systems because of the labor shortage. So this kind of brings me to that, what we're seeing, not just with the labor shortage, because stats just came out that actually unemployment went up a little bit, I think, just recently. But are we still kind of seeing some of those labor shortages? Josh, let's start with you. Just what you think.
Not as standout. I think it just depends what part of the labor force. General employees, people specifically in roofing. I think in our industry, people see the path as do good work for a specific, larger contractor, and then I don't know why everyone wants to default to becoming on their own or being a non-W2 employee. So I guess it just depends. There's a lot of different answers. I think people, the guys that are doing it great, they want to seem to have a cut of the pie, and to do it themselves. So it's like, I think that's the biggest thing we fight as contractors in the industry is we want to pour out and make good employees and train people and have them, love our brand. And then sometimes when they're good, no matter how great of a job you've done of making them invest in you, sometimes they get the bug, and sometimes they come back and, you guys probably have the same thing. And
Chris, you smiled there.
I'm laughing because several years ago, it's kind of a mix of all of what they're talking about is several years ago, Utah roofing contractors, or actually all subcontractors besides HVAC, plumbing, and electricians, were deregulated. You don't have to take a test. You don't have to have experience anymore to have a roofing license in Utah. So last month we found 2 buildings that we were called to go look at that were installed incorrectly. And so now, and these...
What systems were they? TPO?
It was a single ply TPO roof.
Yeah. Oh,
and
nice.
So these building owners that installed these roofs within 5 to 7 years ago are now stuck with a roof that is not up to specifications or anything else. And so now they're stuck with this huge repair bill or to replace the roof. And what are they going to do? And
because if it's fasteners, that can be dangerous.
Well,
it's
the
right wind, it's like...
They ran the material up, they didn't do a wall flashing or anything. They just ran the fill up the wall, which is not correct. And this was literally within 2 weeks of each other. We found 2 roofs installed exactly the same.
Well, and that's what McKay was talking about with the subcontractor network. And I'm not going to say this is all the fault of subcontractors, but if you're not getting licensing or training,
getting licensed or getting approved or whatever, that's causing problems. And then to add on to that is, I don't think that they're having we've just had a large job hit the last 2 weekends with theft. And so they don't have the money to purchase materials. And so that's going to make the rest of it rise as well.
That's a good point.
So and you're involved with the Utah Roofing Contractor Association. Are you looking at, and this will take us into our next topic, in Roofing Day in Utah, are these things going to be, are you doing advocacy for changing this back?
Yes, we are. It bothers me because it gives a lot of roofers a bad name.
Yeah.
And we need to change that.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing something like that?
I talked to somebody with the AGC. I recently found out why they did it. I was talking with somebody with the AGC, Associated General Contractors, and then another attorney who was actually involved with the state licensing board. And so I'm planning on meeting with them a little further to try and figure out what we can do to fix this again, because it's not a great situation. And then I think of the other states that don't have any licensing requirements.
Yeah, Texas, nothing. but-
Colorado has nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wyoming
just
has
Oregon.
Colorado's just registration.
We have,
by,
we have licensing.
Yeah, we have licensing.
Yeah, we have licensing.
yeah, Oregon has big licensing.
We
Yeah.
have big
Yeah.
licensing.
So to that point, you are active, very active right now. Oregon does not have a roofing day as of yet, but you have been spending a lot of time on legislation in Oregon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Lots of legislative stuff in Oregon. The emergency Senate Bill 592 and 927 were passed January of this year, which increased OSHA citations 1,100%. So, yeah, it's insane. And I have these.
Like their task force?
No, just they had to follow Fed OSHA and increase their citation fines. And so I have some facts for this too. Last year alone, for a 12-month calendar year, the repeat offenses brought in $900,000 worth of citation money. This year, in a 9-month period, they are $3.5 million. So that's how much it went up. So yeah, so that's a big struggle for roofing contractors in the Oregon area. It is weeding out some of our people that aren't the tenured companies, and I'm not going to say that's good or bad. We are, we've been around for 55 years. We know what the tie-off rules are. We participate in it, but it's been a real struggle for contractors in the Oregon area.
It really comes back to how important training is, and safety training, and the safety
And
culture.
documenting it,
Yeah.
and the culture, it has.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
Wow. Now, well, you're involved a lot with both on the NRCA level with RoofPack and
Government affairs.
government affairs,
Yeah.
and also within California and Western states. What are some of the things you're seeing right now that is really on an advocacy level?
Well, obviously, I think we're all trying to get greater funding for the roofing industry, for employees to be able to learn the skills to be successful, to get more qualified workers to be able to do things. I think that's very important. We're always looking at, certain issues that kind of pop up on a federal level or a state level that seem to be excessive, or, things that go beyond what I'd say quality and safety, and get sort of government interference into the roofing business. They have the best of intentions, but they end up sometimes with the worst of practices that they impose upon us.
Kind of like what you
I always hate the idea that they're hiring more IRS agents. I kind of think all of us are probably paying our taxes well. There's somebody up at the top maybe they should be working on, but the rest of us, they shouldn't be so hard on. So I think, from a government affairs perspective, I think we're looking at, just trying to get good qualified workers so business can kind of catch up and keep growing with the opportunities if America keeps investing in itself. And it looks like, on a federal level, there's tons of plants that are being put up with regard to chip plants and all the things, so we can, be back a leader in the AI business and a leader in innovation and efficiency. So.
Yeah. James Ellsworth is on with you on the government affairs. He lives and breathes this stuff, so he's probably hopefully watching and saying, yes, all of these things that they're working on. But I think when it comes, the thing I've noticed in the Western states is the state associations have really kind of taken on a lot of this, where they are, they've always been active, but I know, I'm thinking about Montana just did a roofing day in Helena. We have roofing days now in Washington, where you never heard about roofing days going to the Capitol, right? And it's happening now all over. Are you guys putting something together?
We haven't yet, but we are thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
What does that entail?
Yeah.
I haven't been to one yet, so I don't know. But we are thinking about it. But
It's really getting the roofing organization together, whether it's locally or nationally, going in and seeing your legislators, making them aware of your presence, your size of your business, your importance, and what your issues are.
We're a big cog in the economy. The industry does a lot for a lot of levels of everything, industry, distribution. It's big business.
Yeah, well, I would say that Reed would say that we were one of the quiet voices when he came you know, and took over NRCA before he's since retired. But, you know, McKay is a believer that we have to have a louder voice because, you know, to some extent the squeaky wheel gets whatever it is they want. They get the funding or they get the manpower, and we got to have our voice there because everybody else is there in government asking for something. And
that's a great point you brought up, and I was talking to Heidi about this earlier. Even like the America's Seed Fund right now is a big role that's a lot of people have never heard of, so it's good to bring it up on stuff like this to bring awareness. But we're working with them to get money and secure money for AI roofing. So it's like there's programs and things out there that people really need to go to the resources. We should post resources like that are just on things that people don't know about, because it's like there's things even that are not in technology that the money's never claimed because no one knows about it, and that's kind of a sad deal. So it's like I think for the people that are looking to grow and grow their business and be sustainable, they should be able to at least have the opportunity to learn about it and then see if it's a fit.
Okay, new thing on the coffee shop. We're going to start getting those resources out there.
I
like
cool
that.
Way to like help people.
Well,
because it's free money.
When you think about the grants that are out there for training and Perkins and all of that too, getting more information so the contractors can get the training, can recruit and do all those things, and just talking about it. Stephanie and I were talking about, this year, Stephanie, are you going to go to Roofing Day in DC and we can go talk to our Oregon legislators? And she's like, not this year, but next year. So I'm looking forward to it.
I want to go too. I saw Charles go to that, and I on LinkedIn.
Me too.
You too.
yeah, I think I've been going 5 or 6 years straight.
Really?
So
Yeah, I'll have to go with you guys. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I want to go.
You want to go?
I want to go.
Yeah, I want to go too.
Yeah.
I've never
Think about
been
We
either.
can go to the Lincoln Memorial and get a photo.
Oh, the four of us?
The selfie opportunity.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm in. I'm in.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I also say that you also need to participate at your local level because, you know, your congresswoman, your congressmen, your senators, they'll all see you at their local facility or local things. When you get to Washington, we come in as a group, but if they know you a little bit before you get there, or you're a supporter of them, then your leverage is a little bit more.
Local level is huge. Yeah, because they're gonna, if you show up and see, I mean, there's things they can help you with that they would never maybe even share if they never saw your face.
Yeah. Or if you have them out to your company. We've talked about doing that, trying to get National Women in Roofing more involved. It hasn't happened yet. We've talked to Rachel about like how do we have people get to know their legislators or know these roofing companies, go visit these roofing companies. So yeah, there's a lot out there that I think we need to, even just talking about it and putting it together. But okay, I want to make sure, because there's a couple things I want to really make sure I get to. And one of them is Western States Roofing Contractors Association and what it's doing for the industry, and also what are some of the initiatives. So Chris, can you kind of share some of that?
I love Western States Roofing Contractors Association. When I became involved about 8-9 years ago, I didn't know what I was in for. But I can tell you that the technical information that they put out is top notch.
Yeah.
We also have a legal advisor who is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. I cannot tell you how many times I've needed his help with contracts review, with helping me with other weird installation issues, and he deals with roofing contractors across the nation. So he is experienced in so many problems, whereas other attorneys know nothing.
Because he's probably seen some weird thing in New Jersey, wherever. Yeah.
He has, and he also is there to protect the organization as well. He knows about things that are coming up. Trent is so amazing.
Trent Cotney. Adams agrees.
We use him
directory.
And,
we all love him.
Yeah, then we have Steven Zazadil with our safety app. I was involved in getting him involved with Western States, and the safety portion that he's done is amazing.
Yeah.
We love the app. We love the toolbox talks that come out every week in English and in Spanish. And that leads me into my initiatives and my goals for this year.
Yes, let's hear them.
I am really wanting to get everything translated into Spanish.
Yay! We
We've
we are
been
gonna
talking
go
about it
this
for 2
done.
years.
We
Yay.
are going to get this
We're
done.
gonna get
We
it
should-
done.
Yes, we're going to get it
So,
done.
We're doing everything with Scout. We're doing both in English and in Spanish.
It
also.
needs to be done.
And yeah, I've got some pretty cool tech stuff that can automatically subscribe.
Oh,
you know,
that
so,
is.
yeah,
We
should
need
link
to talk
up. That'd be great.
because no, and it's. I mean, as I've noticed the change in my workforce, we used to have more English than Spanish workforce, and now it's switched. I mean, I even have a bilingual person in my office.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have
We
to.
I
do
have
too.
to because
Yeah.
I can't talk to them, and it's so frustrating for me because I don't speak Spanish. And if I had the time after working 60 or 80 hours a week, I'd go learn Spanish, but I don't have the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
Right.
but I want, and that is basically inclusivity.
Right.
It really is.
It's
Yeah.
inclusivity of Spanish-speaking people because they are so important in
And
our
they're a
industry.
proud industry cornerstone.
And they work harder than anybody else I
Yeah.
know. And
They're instrumental to all of our companies.
and
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Yes, it's so true. We are actually next weekend going to Contradista Exposition, which is
Yep.
part of the National Association of Hispanic Contractors, and we have a whole new navigation. We've had Spanish on the site. We've been translated for many years, but we are now taking it to the very top of the navigation, and we have we're going to have lunch and learns and podcasts because of this topic that we have to be inclusive to be able to understand. And I've watched you two both with the app, the safety app, and how hard you've worked on it, and to have everything go into Spanish and be inclusive, inviting them membership, right? For everyone to feel comfortable to be part of the associations and to know that they're going to be heard.
When their visibility goes up, the ownership goes up, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that people overlook. If people feel represented, the ownership in the larger collective goes up as well, which helps everyone. That's just a general trend up.
Well, I think it's also the American dream. Everybody who's come here,
100%.
they start off at one tier working, and then they want to be an owner. They want to have their own business. It's just a natural progression of what everybody wants to do. And so you just got to embrace that and be excited for people, help them teach, learn, and grow. But I also think, our roofing business is a visual learner thing. They didn't go and want to be in the textbook business. So I also encourage people, pictures and video and things are very important because I think these are hands-on folks.
They're industrial.
And so
Yes,
they can see it, they can do it.
Even people that are producing safety videos or something, they need to produce them in English and Spanish.
Yes.
Because
Not
that's
to plug Scout again, but that's what we're also doing.
okay.
Scout.
Thank you. Because we try so hard.
Is safety,
Yes,
is doing
with our
safety
safety.
instruction videos. Because once you have animation and and you can put a character and have any language, you can teach and have, make that available to anyone. Yeah.
And
Yes.
in Steven's app, remember when it went to Spanish last year, that was instrumental in that. So yeah, because
and even like my timekeeping app that I use, not to plug another app, but
Right.
they have the capability
Not
that I
sponsored. We have to wink at the camera. Not
Yeah.
sponsored.
but I
Not
can
yet.
switch. I can change them from English to Spanish.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
the app goes to Spanish.
so
to them.
they understand
So
what
they
they're
understand.
submitting. Yeah.
Right. Because-
So there's no reason for somebody to do a job site inspection form when you don't understand what you're saying. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
We have
important.
Sorry,
I
not
think-
to sideline, but mentorship, because he talked about it. What do you guys like? Where are you at with mentorship? Because it's like he was talking about hands-on learning, visual things. It's like, I mean, I'm second generation. My dad taught me, what I knew and then built in. But I feel like there's a pretty big lack of like true mentorship and how the trades kind of classically developed. And I think that's an interesting topic.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm third generation.
Yeah.
And I believe in people need to be trained, have education, because and they need to learn in leadership and in communication. Because if not, we're just going to fail.
Yeah.
I believe completely. We've been implementing some things in our business with communication skills and teaching, and I want them to start learning more, because they the people, my foreman will complain that somebody doesn't know how to do something. I was like, well, how are you teaching them?
Yeah.
How are you teaching them? How do we get that help to them?
Right. And there is, the thing that I love is there is training out there. I think of the RCMA, Roof Coating Manufacturers Association, have online courses. And I don't think they're in Spanish yet, English right now, but that's what we see to this point. We see so much training out there, but it's not brought together. It's like you have to go actively looking for it, where we are trying to like bring all that together.
Exactly. I've recently I've been asking different manufacturers about their mobile training. What do they have?
Yeah.
And I get them scheduled and come out to our yard and do a training.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they have a lot of bilingual trainers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
I tell you, so we started this conversation with what are the trends, and this is the trend right here. Bilingual training. And the inclusivity of our beautiful Hispanic culture into roofing to really shine. I think you guys have hit it, and Western States is there on the forefront.
Well, you think about the statistics that McKay said during about the unemployment. Employment of non-American born has gone up, where American born has gone down. My opinion of that is because the people here in America, they don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to do it. I see it day after day.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I'll come get a job, but then they don't want to work every day.
Well, and I think doesn't that a little bit tie back in, not always, but a little bit ties back into that ownership and the representation, right? I feel like a little bit of that kind of lackadaisical lack of ownership sometimes comes from lack of visibility. Not for everything, it's not a fix-all. There's definitely a problem with people wanting to work hard in certain areas, but yeah, I think it's interesting.
I think
it's multifaceted at least.
We've had a whole generation too that and we all talked about this, and this one thing we didn't quite get to, but with CTE, career technical, like when I was in high school a long time ago, we had shop class, right?
Yeah.
We had shop class. Everybody was building houses. They were, the shop class would be building all these different things, and that all went away because we became this. Everyone has to go to college, and that was the track. So we've almost have a lost generation.
I agree. I think you just hit it. Yeah, because that was your option, is you were to go to college, and then we lost out on the trades, and that's a huge reason why there's not as many skilled workers in the trades right now, is because it wasn't an option for them. And not everybody does want to go to college. No. Not everybody's going to be a great college student. Not everybody wants
Nor
to do.
should they need to be.
Yeah, not everybody wants to do that type of career where everybody's always going to need the trades. When COVID shut down, who was essential workers?
Yeah.
We were. Yeah, the trades were.
Yes.
We were essential workers because we're needed.
Yeah.
And you can make a great career and a great amount of money doing what we do, and it needs to be broadcasted and is an option. So I think it's important. So and the onboarding of that, I feel, is the piece that's missing. People forget, they don't talk about it. It's the onboarding of bringing them into our industry or the construction industry. I think that's the missing link.
And DeWalt's doing the Grow the Trades initiative. That's kind of shadowing a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, and that's just kind of the start of what I think a lot of industries could do to help grow the trades. Like what you're saying though, it's the onboarding. Where do you get in? What does the path look like? Is that a corporate path? Is that am I going to be picking up PCAPs out of a gutter my whole, like what does this look like? And I think
what
that's
can it look like in the future?
Correct.
That's the
I'm
thing.
here now, but paint me a picture of optimism.
It's the onboarding. It's missing. It is. It's the missing link.
You got it.
And the inclusivity.
Yeah.
Once it's there, feeling like you're part of a team and that you're respected and you've been trained and you go home safe.
Yes.
Yeah,
every
that's
night
a human
to your
need
family.
to collectively be together.
Yeah.
Like everybody
Right.
likes to be together.
And to be part of something. Everybody wants to be part of something and feel self-worth. I think that's super important.
So well said.
I honestly feel once people get into roofing, once they are part of these associations, once they're part of things, they do feel like a part of a family, but sometimes we've been our worst enemies of like the best kept secret of this industry, and that's changing. I see that changing through associations where we're actually getting out there and saying, you know, roofing is a respectable, roofing respect, baby. That's what we
Roofing
have.
respect.
I mean,
Roofing
we
respect.
can all sit here and agree that Heidi, you're the leader in that kind of. I mean,
We
Absolutely.
love roofing respect.
you're the pioneer in
Well,
that. Yeah.
in the 30 years that I've been in the roofing industry, I'm just amazed by how it has changed.
Yeah.
Because when I first got into the roofing industry, it wasn't a respected industry. And now it is. If it was that easy for you to roof your house, you'd do it yourself and you'd save $20,000 to $50,000.
Right.
You'd do it yourself. It's not.
No.
It's not easy. And I feel like the roofing industry is respected now. Roofing
Yeah.
respect.
I
Roofing
think so, too.
respect.
Look up to your
Hashtag roofing
roofers.
respect.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think it's also gotten more complex. That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
I
so
agree.
the
Yes,
skill sets
absolutely.
required is a lot
Yep,
higher.
I agree.
But I think there's also one point that needs to get said here, which is the young people come in, their attention spans, their methodology of learning is different than it's been in the past.
Yes.
And that's because of social media and so forth. And so I really emphasize the point that we need to have visual things. We need to have a short content so people can grasp it from a repetitive standpoint, because sitting down at a textbook or sitting down and learning something for a year or 5 years, that's not going to happen. When all of us want to repair something, we go to YouTube, we look up and say, oh, now I need to have that screwdriver. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to do this.
Right.
And so
Visual
we all,
or hands-on.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we
More
definitely need,
hands-on.
Hands aren't touching it, you're not doing it.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're not learning it.
You're not
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that's the industry. That's what we're here for. So, wow, you guys, that hour went super fast.
Yeah,
It did.
tell ya.
Yeah. You
I
want should we
know.
talk some more?
Yeah, we can talk
Okay.
some more. We can keep
Okay.
going.
the show
no,
goes till Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk more about coatings though, because man, that was such like people don't realize that is a huge profit line that you can add to your business with coatings. Let's help out some plug-in for
Yeah.
coatings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
right
no, it's
there.
true though. It's like
Ever-
a huge industry. It's like all the built-up roofs and everything that hasn't anything asphalt. It's like you can really help the homeowner out, or the building owner, and yourself.
And the landfills.
But you also
100%.
need to have
Yeah.
proper education
Big time.
Yes.
because there's some
Yep.
snake oil salesmen out there.
Don't just
Yeah.
get up there and
Which
not.
is
Yeah,
not the
it's like
case.
oh
Yeah.
so true. Oh my god.
Well, and then there's some people
Yeah.
that want to self-perform, and they might be a little dangerous, so we got to get them back to professional roofers who can do
Yeah,
the job
yes.
right.
Yes.
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 Prep the
Exactly.
substrate. Yes.
So, my friends, I do have to bring this to an end. I can't believe it. It's been so great. I want to say thank you to every single one of you. This has been the best. This is so great. And thank you, Will. Thank you for sponsoring the soundstage.
Yeah, thanks, Will.
We're going the whole show. We're doing interviews. We're going to be bringing you all this kind of information. But this is by far my favorite, the coffee conversations
This is
where we can
great,
really
yeah.
talk about things. So please, everybody out there, check out all of these directories. You're going to see a directory very soon for Roof Scout. You're going to see Western States right here. Bliss on our club has their directory on there. We'll talk about that, Chris. And of course, General Coatings and Everroof, both directories on Rivers Coffee Shop and on Coatings Coffee Shop. This is the kind of information that we want to bring to you all the time. Please let us know what you think and share this with everyone. This will be available on demand within the next 24 to 48 hours in there, and watch for all of our coffee conversations coming up. Thank you. Stay tuned. We have more interviews coming from this Western Roofing Expo 2024.